here with you're basically like a living legend in the East Village.
Well, thank you.
Well, don't you think so?
Well, I'm pretty well known, yes.
Yeah. So it's HeeNa.
ReeNa.
And where were you born? Where did you start?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I love Pittsburgh. I have like a weird affection to Pittsburgh,
They're
Pennsylvania.
nice people there.
I've been on the incline. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah,
That's great.
I know. I had a best friend from Pittsburgh when I was a kid growing up, and then I played there a bunch of times. And it's just such a, I don't know, I have like a good thing with Pittsburgh. So what brought you to New York?
Theater.
Ah.
I was a singer on the road, and
Ah.
I came to New York, and I decided that I would go off the road from singing and go to Stella Adler.
Okay.
So I got an apartment at 69 East, West 9th Street, across from Trudy Hillers.
Okay.
And I went in, and I wanted a part-time job to support myself. I was going to school. And Trudy gave me a job in the hot check. So I was a rock and roller, and everybody else was jazz at that time. And her club was dying. She was calling it the Crazy Corner, and it wasn't doing anything.
And where was it?
9th Street and 6th Avenue.
So it was right.
This is it. I just renamed it Gehenna.
Oh, you renamed it Gehenna?
Yeah, on the book.
But that wasn't really the name?
No, this is Trudy Hillers.
Ah.
And I took the
So is it a novel or is it real?
It's a novel. But
It's a novel like...
stories are real.
Yeah.
I've heard them, I've lived them, I know people that, you know.
So it's like, what's that word? Embellished?
Yes, embellished.
It's like that, what was that book?
Well, some are actually as they were.
James Fry.
I love that book.
It starts in 1959
Okay.
and goes to 65.
So it's, okay.
I'm now working on 66. It's going to be a trilogy.
Wow, how long did it take you to write this one?
I started it in 1985
Wow.
and just finished it this year.
Good for you. So it's only 6 years?
Well,
It's action packed, right?
If you can't follow plots, it's all over the place.
I like that. My name was
minute.
non sequitur when I lived in London, and I didn't know what it meant, and now I do. So that's my kind of reading.
Great.
Like I love all over the place.
Well, so far it's got a 5-star rating on Amazon.
Good for you.
People love it.
Yay.
And so when I was at Trudy's, I was in the check, and she came over to me one day and she said, "I'm going away for 8 weeks. Here's the keys. You're the manager." Well, I was like a 21-year-old kid. What did I know? I was just a hat check girl. But by the time she came back after 8 weeks, I really knew what I was doing.
The place was booming.
I put in rock and roll.
Good for
I
you.
brought in the Trudy Heller dancers, and she came back and but she was making money, so she didn't bother me. Had it flopped, I probably would have been in trouble.
Wow, so you're an entrepreneur, and you didn't even know it.
Right.
Wow.
I didn't know it.
Right.
And people would come up to me, they'd say, "Where's the manager?" And I'd come over and I was like this fresh-faced little kid, and if I look back now, they say, "What do you mean, you're the manager?" But I got tough fast.
That's pretty cool. So then, like, what kind of acts do you remember? Any of the names of the bands?
Well, I gave Jimi Hendrix his first job.
Look at that.
I booked the bands, and he was with Carl Holmes and the Commanders.
Wow.
So there was a singer there called Bertha Kitten Colbert.
Bertha Kit?
Bertha Kitten Colbert.
That's funny.
And the three of us, Jimmy, Bertha, and me, would dance every night.
Wow.
Of course, you don't remember Trudy Hillers, do you?
I don't.
I didn't think you're too young.
But I do.
But we had a wall. These walls here had platforms where the dancers would dance.
Wow.
And Jimmy would leap off the stand onto the floor.
So he was an amazing guy.
Oh! No, I had never seen anything like it. You know, he'd play with the things back
Behind
here.
us, yeah.
But also, Madonna worked there. She was with Breakfast Club.
Oh, I remember that.
And everybody came through that door.
Wow.
Geez, the bands we booked were just amazing.
Wow.
But then
So what was Madonna? Was she nice or mean then?
Well, non-sequitur. I mean,
Right.
nondescript.
She was just like one of everybody else.
I mean, if somebody told me she'd be a star, I don't know if I would have.
Really?
She's a nice person.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
Not stand out.
Huh, so who did stand out?
Well, Jimmy, obviously.
Yeah.
So many people. The Almond Joys, which were became the Almond Brothers. They were the Almond Joys when they worked for us. Oh my God, there's so many. I'd have to sit and really think. Well, you have to read my book.
I will. Yeah, we got to read this book. So it's New York history. So from there, where'd you go? After Trudy Heller?
I met my husband. He was from the British invasion. He came in with a group called the Mersey Lads.
Okay.
They had a semi-hit called What You Gonna Do, Baby?
Okay.
And
Where'd you meet?
We met at an agent's office when I went up to book bands.
Huh.
And so, you know, that adorable British type.
What was he wearing? Do you remember?
Yeah, the dog collar. Remember the satin dog collar shirt?
Yeah.
Well, of course, that's what they wore. He wore a yellow satin dog collar.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, definitely.
Wow.
And so we opened a club around the corner called Copperfields because his name was David Copperfield.
His real name was David Copperfield?
Well, it was a name that he used in England.
Isn't the magician David Copperfield?
He came and threatened my husband. He came into the club and threatened David. Don't use this name. He said, well, that's my name. I've been using it for 20 years.
Wow.
So David, you know.
Was that on 3rd Avenue, Copperfield?
No, it was 8th Street. It's the old Bonsoir.
Okay.
The famous Bonsoir, which was I had an idea to bring elegance to rock.
Okay.
So we got the Bonsoir about it, and it was very elegant. It has carpeting, red velvet curtains,
right.
And it was just beautiful. Well, the rock musicians loved it. Oh my God, it was so great.
It's tacky. We love tacky.
I know, but this was something new for them.
Classy tacky.
Yeah, it was tacky. What club isn't tacky?
I love tacky, of course.
So anyway, I mean, I love this place.
Me
it's
too.
Like, I like grunge
Me
before
too.
grunge was even.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. So we opened it, and we were right next door to Electric Lady.
Okay.
Everybody
Jimmy
came in. Everybody. Kiss was a regular in our club, and so you know they'd come from Electric Lady. So it was really great to have them come in. But we wanted to. I broke up with my husband, so I wanted to open my own place. So what I did was I sold the club. Well, the people that bought it couldn't make the payments, so it came back to me, and I opened it up as Rock Bottom.
Oh, that's
which
cute.
was in the basement.
Brilliant.
Grunge, you know. And then I said, I'm going to open up.
What was this, the 70s?
That was 78.
Okay.
So then in 79, I decided I want to do a private club for musicians that's private, like nobody bothers them.
Right.
So I wouldn't allow cameras, which I'm sorry now because all those people, I would have had their pictures.
It's all the memories.
But they knew they could come in and no one would bother them. They could do what they want. And it was 4 floors.
Where was
First
this?
floor, that was on 3rd Avenue, 98 3rd Avenue.
So was this the nursery or the
That's
UK?
The nursery. But the first nursery was on 13th Street.
And what?
And it was between 3rd and
4th?
4th.
Okay, like the block with all the hookers.
No, that was the 3rd nursery.
Oh, but 13th Street was all prostitutes back.
Not that block. You know where the church was on 13th?
Yes, the one that
Right
that
across the street, that elegant townhouse.
The 12th Street was the church.
Right.
Yeah, so was it 12?
Yes.
Okay.
So I put it in
I
there.
know that neighborhood a little bit.
I put it in that townhouse.
Okay.
And of course,
and that church, NYU tore down by accident.
And that was
and now it's a door with a front. I used to breastfeed my daughter in that.
And that was a shrine. That was a shrine that they tore down.
Yeah, I know. That was a beautiful church.
But anyway, they complained because the city closed us because we were within 500 feet of a church.
Ah, wow.
So
the nursery you're talking about.
The first nursery.
Okay.
So the
and
second,
is this private, exclusive for the musicians?
No,
invite only? Like, how does it work?
No, that was opened up to pretty much everybody.
Okay.
But the second nursery was University Place.
I used to go to the nursery.
The third
The
one?
3rd Avenue.
That was totally private.
That was totally after hours.
And we were the first with.
All I remember is red.
Red?
Wasn't it all red inside?
Oh, it was red and white.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the nights you go there, nights that you don't really remember how you got there, and you don't really remember leaving, but you know you had such a good time. You were there. That's basically what it was.
And
that back room.
yes,
I remember that.
Oh
the
my
bar
God.
when you would walk in, it was that
and then the
long
pool
hall.
tables, the pool rooms were on the second floor.
I remember
And
the
the
nursery.
third-
I had friends that used to bring me there.
The third was a movie room, and I had the movies that were showing uptown. We would get these bootleg things and put them in. You know, people sit them down and watch, you know, what was current playing on Broadway in a private room.
Wow.
So
So nobody would remember.
well, you know, it's funny because we were the first in the city with gun detectives. Because
Ah.
somebody drove by one day and shot in at the club.
Oh my God.
So the next night I had a steel
Good for you.
bulletproof, but I saw that it was changing.
Yeah.
Because you know how
that's when it was all.
you could go into clubs anywhere, nobody bothered you, and all of a sudden there's all this violent element.
When was this? The 80s, right?
80s.
The 80s.
Oh, the 80s were fabulous.
I know. We didn't know what
So
80s.
much work, so
We
much
didn't
money.
know. No cell
Everybody all
phones.
had money. Walked around with, you know, there was so much.
And we'd end up at the nursery. What could be worse? Exactly. It was so much fun.
It was.
I know. It was good being like a kid in that era.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, where are you? I know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
You know, in those days there was heat in the street. There was heat. You knew you'd go out and have fun. And everybody'd be so exciting, and you'd meet every one-of-a-kind person. Where are the one-of-a-kind people now? They're all the same.
You're here.
Yeah, but I'm getting older. What about the young ones?
We're
They're
here. I mean,
Well,
I know. It's true. It's that cookie cutter.
And you know, we didn't care. We risked.
But it is National Cookie Day, so maybe that's good to do it. Exactly. So would you like a cookie or 10 because we have so many cookies? And would you share a skeleton from your closet, like a naughty little story that?
Oh, a naughty story?
Yeah.
Okay. When at the third nursery,
The one I know.
yes, the Hells Angels came in a lot, and people were starting to complain. They didn't want to, even though they didn't bother anybody,
No.
annoyed them. And we did have a couple of incidents where they got. I had to go to the Hells Angels, meet them, and discuss them not coming to my
Protocol.
So this is what happened. I went to and had a discussion with them, but I didn't know if I'd be all right. So I had one of the boys come
Smart.
silently and sit in the restaurant so that if anything went wrong, I didn't want to lose my life.
Right.
But actually they were really nice.
Yeah.
They treated me wonderfully, and when the guys came in and went to sit at the next table, they got a little nervous and they left immediately. Because in those days, don't forget, the mob controlled everything. They told you what linen companies to use.
For the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to use certain
Wow.
garbage companies.
That's very soprano.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And we
It's
lived
true, right?
Well, we knew them all because they came into the club.
Yeah. They would get the contracts.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. My grandfather was in the liquor business.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, my great-grandmother had a speakeasy. But I never knew her, but that was my grandfather's mother.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to open another nursery.
Yo, can I help you?
Yes, I would.
Oh, my
Absolutely
God.
go to you.
Oh, my God.
Because you want
You heard it here.
You want it. You want
Should it
it.
be really after hours and really cool?
Well, you know, that was a private club. I had a private charter on my wall,
Right?
and they decided, you know, Koch. Well, I hate Koch.
Really? Well,
He put
may
in
he rest in
public nuisance laws. He put in padlock
Ah.
laws. They could just go and put a padlock on your place without even any hearing.
Oh, that's not right.
So anyway, he decided that he wanted liquor license at that time was $17.50 a year. He wanted 3 years up front, which was $5,400. So
God, if that was only it today, right?
yeah. So they said, well, what about the private clubs? They came in.
What perfume are you wearing? You smell so good.
Rackets.
I knew it. I love FRaNk. I love gardenia. I love your smell. Every time you're putting your arm here, I'm like, oh, I love it so much. You smell so
But
good.
anyway, they got it in a whole troop of cops and put my customers up against the wall with guns
Oh, no.
and raided us and took my charter off the wall, and I was illegal. I said, screw you, I'm not closing. I opened up every night They raid me every couple of months.
Oh my
One
God.
time they took the bar away. I had the bar built by the next night, so.
Wow, you are like one enthusiastic
Well, I
woman.
don't
I love
like
you.
I do not like people telling me what to do. I really resent all these restrictions in New York. And you know what Patti Smith said the other day?
What?
Forget about New York.
I saw that. But
She
I
said,
can't.
find another city.
No,
They've taken it away
yeah,
from
you
you.
know what? I always say I'm an optimist or I live in total delusion. I always believe there is something good that will come out of it. I can be delusional though.
I would like to build a city just for the arts.
Yes,
That's
we're trying to do here.
A musician can walk down the street and there's 25
Yeah.
clubs you could pop in your town.
Hell yeah.
We gotta find a cheap town that needs the business.
Alright.
Let's make it the arts. I don't care where it is.
Alright, I'm down for that.
Here, here.
Totally down for that.
Detroit.
I want to. So what's your website? And everybody go buy this book. Gehenna. Gehenna.
Yeah.
And what's your best website that you want people
Well,
to?
I just started a new site called Say It at Your Wedding.
Yes, I heard about that. Let's talk about
I
that.
represent writers, and my whole life's been devoted to writing and a writer. And so a prose person or a poet can submit their work and
Right.
they get paid if a customer picks it.
Isn't that a nice thing?
And they usually don't get paid. So
no, we don't. We give
if
it
you
away.
want to say something at your wedding,
Right?
right?
And it doesn't go to the government.
Well,
No,
Just
no,
what they need to
I hate
get.
government.
I like this lady. Your daughter, Melissa, I have to thank you. As soon as she's met me, she said, you will love my
That's why
mother.
I did this, because I never do this. I'm very private. I'm always underground.
Well, we're
This is
going
the
to
first
you
time
overground,
Only
baby.
for Melissa, because I don't.
Oh,
well, I actually have some questions about this.
Okay.
Okay.
Take this mic.
In terms of club scenes and what even exists these days, nowadays it's all sports bars. And on one hand, you can see why an owner would be interested in that because they don't have to deal with musicians not showing up,
True.
showing up drunk, showing up wasted, showing up unable to play.
Wait, that's a judgment on musicians. I think that's not fair.
It's easier just to turn on the TV and you're done. Is my
Well, it's so uncreative, and it's like so you're saying better safe than sorry. But
It's easy
musicians-
appeal for an owner.
Okay.
But in terms of the benefit of society and
Right.
the arts, it's not good.
Okay.
It doesn't make for a vibrant scene in the least. There's
So
really nothing being
you have a
created.
backup. If somebody doesn't show up, you always have a backup.
Yeah, and you think that sports bars are like just playing it safe. Do you think kids don't have the same interests as they used to anymore?
Yeah,
there's less.
I think that there's less interest, but they all want to be the rock star.
But they're taught to succeed from the time.
But it was also
Picking their
18.
schools. They don't have time.
I
Be
know.
a kid.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible.
But no, like Maxwell from Hobart, for
Yeah.
example,
They
recently.
just closed.
Right. They
I know.
said it's all about who has the biggest TV these days. The
Yeah.
live music doesn't.
Well, as I said, I'm an optimist or I live in total delusion. I still believe there is always a place for something great to exist. I just can't believe that everybody's such an idiot.
Oh, they are today.
They can't be.
They all follow an ideology, and both parties are
Well, then we have to create an ideology.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, I get it. All right, and I love how you smile. Oh, I love it so
And
much.
then also, I wanted to mention, since you were talking about artists and writers getting paid, that's really been in decline lately because there's free content available all over the
That's
web.
right.
And there was recently a thing, someone over Thanksgiving did a fake thing claiming that he was getting into a Twitter fight with some woman in 7A on the airplane. And it was all a hoax. And the worst part of it to me was the news sources didn't do any sort of fact checking. So
They
as far
don't
as
have to
journalism
anymore. Back in the day, you needed 3.
Right.
You don't need any anymore. You can print anything you
Same
want.
thing with proofing. How many times I have this proof, I still found errors.
Yeah,
That's my assistant over there, Susie.
yeah.
She and I spent 6 months just correcting all the proofing they did wrong, incorrectly in the first
I
place.
totally understand. I get it. I get it. This is not
Quality
the first
has
meeting.
gone down.
ReeNa, I will see you later.
Thanks a lot.
Yay!